Antioxidants are your body's silent protectors, shielding your cells every day. 20 years ago, Nu Skin made it possible to measure them, and today, we've made it easier than ever. Back in 1999, Nu Skin introduced our very first Bio Photonic Scanner. It was the size of a room, took an hour to calibrate, but for the first time ever, it could measure antioxidant levels non-invasively through the skin. Carotenoids are a kind of antioxidant that help protect your cells from damage caused by free radicals, helping to reduce inflammatory effects, support healthy cognitive aging, and strengthen your body's natural defenses. In 2002, we debuted a smaller, more portable scanner. It could measure antioxidant levels right from the palm of your hand using Raman spectroscopy, a technology pioneered a century ago by C.V. Raman. Then, in 2003, we launched our first commercial device, the S1. Smaller and smarter, it only needed 30 minutes to calibrate, and each scan took just 3 minutes, a major breakthrough in scanning science. Fast forward to 2006 and the advent of the S2. It was a competitive game changer. 33% smaller, 50% lighter. Calibration was cut to 5 minutes using 3 standards, and scanning took only 90 seconds. This iteration pushed the boundaries with real-time health insights and laid the foundation for future success. In 2009, we pushed even higher, literally, with the S2 Everest Edition. And to test it, we partnered with elite Sherpas who carried the scanner to over 17,000 feet at Mount Everest Base Camp. We scanned climbers before and after their ascent to see how extreme oxidative stress affected their carotenoid levels. Then, in 2013, we leveled up again. We launched the S3 scanner, a sleeker, smaller, Bluetooth-enabled device. We completely redesigned the user interface on the iPad, pushing portability to the next level. And the result? Scans that took just 30 seconds, making it faster and easier to scan large groups, anytime, anywhere. Now to scan the world. From Provo, Utah, this innovation went global, reaching 51 countries and over 25 million scans worldwide. But our journey is just getting started. Because we live in a world where wellness isn't just expert-driven, it's influencer-fed and social media-powered. Antioxidants were the original focus of the Bio Photonic Scanner technology, and being able to non-invasively measure carotenoid levels was once considered groundbreaking. But the field has evolved. Today's wellness tech can track how you sleep, breathe, manage stress, and how your daily choices shape your long-term health. Technology has moved from measuring to understanding to predicting. And now, we introduce the next chapter, Prism IO, your personal wellness companion. Small enough to fit in the palm of your hand, it's backed by science and clinically proven. Instead of scanning your palm, you simply scan your finger to receive your Prism Score, a measure of your skin's carotenoid levels. Prism IO uses patent-pending spectral ray technology, which consists of hundreds of thousands of hyperspectral absorption measurements per scan to accurately assess light absorption in the skin. Then, a predetermined algorithm, driven by AI and referencing Raman technology, converts these measurements into your Prism Score. It sounds complex, but what it gives you is simple: clarity, confidence, and momentum toward your best self. Prism IO is more than a device, more than data. It's intelligent wellness, personalized, powerful, and designed for you. The future of wellness is here, and it's only just beginning. Say hello to Prism IO.
Hello everyone, good morning and good afternoon to our CPAC leaders, and happy Diwali to all our Indian sales leaders. Thank you for taking your time to join us for today. My name is Fion and I'm the Product Marketing Manager of Pharmanex at New Skin Southeast Asia and Pacific. And I am very excited to be back again as a facilitator for today's Digital Product Opportunity Meeting, Nutritional Health Uncovered. So in today's meeting, we are especially honored to invite two of our corporate speakers from Provo office to share their insights on nutritional health and also our latest wellness innovation, the Prism IO. So leaders, do you know about your nutritional status? And are you considered nutritionally healthy if you eat three types of fruits and vegetables every day or you take supplements every day? How can you know about your nutritional health and how can you improve it? So you will learn all you need to know about nutritional health from our special speaker of today. So, all right, without further ado, I'm going to invite our first speaker for today. She is Dr. Shirley, the Director of Global Research and Development. So let's give our warm Southeast Asia and Pacific welcome to Dr. Shirley. Hello, Dr. Shirley.
Hi, Fiona. Hello,
Nice to
everybody.
meet you again.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm going to go ahead and share my slide.
Thank you. I'll pass over the time to you.
Okay, perfect. Hey, do the slides look okay?
Yes, it looks perfect.
Perfect. Hey, well, I am excited to be here today. And like Fiona said, we are going to start with talking about what oxidative stress is and how we can combat oxidative stress. And so let's just start with, what is oxidative stress? So every day our bodies, really are hit with this battle of oxidative stressors. And basically they are attacking our body. And unfortunately, they contribute to aging on both the inside, but also the outside of our body. So even with the healthiest lifestyles, our cells really do get hit with oxidative stress millions, if not trillions of times every day. And so, what can we do to combat this? So, before we talk about, what we can do, it's important to understand that, unfortunately, just our daily lives, we are impacted by oxidative stressors. And this can be caused by things like mental stress, unhealthy sleep habits. If you're not getting that regular sleep every night, if you're making poor lifestyle choices, let's say you smoke, you're consuming alcohol on a normal basis, not eating those healthy foods, potentially if you're exposed to environmental pollutants, that's something that unfortunately it's really hard to avoid in many of the places that we live, and that can cause oxidative stress. And again, one of the biggest things that can cause oxidative stress is actually just high fat foods and processed foods. And so unfortunately, it's really impossible to avoid all the oxidative stressors in our daily life. And so one way that I like to visualize, what is oxidative stress? You can imagine, slicing an apple, right? Right when you slice it, it's normal, it's white. Unfortunately, just a few minutes later, it starts to turn brown. And this familiar change is due to oxidation, the cells in the apple being exposed to oxygen in the air, and it causes oxidation. And so this is a natural process where oxygen reacts with the cells. And if we look at that apple, the same process is actually happening in our bodies. And so, unfortunately, that oxidative stress can accumulate in our body and it causes accelerated aging. And it really can compromise our long-term health. And so that's why it's so important to understand, how can you measure oxidative stress in your body and how can you actually help combat oxidative stress? And so we're going to talk about that today. And so, how it starts is that oxidative stressors are basically really reactive molecules where one or more unpaired electrons. So basically you have this unpaired electron that is highly reactive. And what happens is these highly reactive molecules become free radicals or oxidative stressors. And so they steal other electrons, they set off a chain reaction of basically molecular destabilization. So basically causing this damage in different cells throughout your body. And basically they damage many different cells, especially the DNA and other cellular structures, which can cause aging, again, like I mentioned earlier, on the inside and outside of the body. So nature's solution is really antioxidants. That is our ability to defend against these free radicals or oxidative stressors. And, these are really interesting molecules in that they're able to actually share their electrons. So they're actually able to neutralize those oxidative stressors. Basically, they halt that chain reaction. And so if you look at antioxidants, there's actually two different types of antioxidants. You have your intrinsic antioxidants, and that means we are born with these specific antioxidant systems in our body that can help combat these oxidative stressor. But then there's also extrinsic antioxidants, and these come from the foods and the supplements that we eat every day. And so these extrinsic antioxidants come mainly from those fruits and vegetables. So basically, you have your intrinsic antioxidants and you have your extrinsic antioxidants. And you can increase your extrinsic, of course, through diet, and your healthy diet can actually positively impact those intrinsic antioxidants that your body's already making as well. So that's why it is just so important to eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, really getting all of that colorful produce so you can get a wide array of different antioxidants from your healthy diet. And so antioxidants are really, really incredible, like we've already talked about, because they can support many different health systems. They can support our gut, they can help support our immune system, even our cardiovascular health, our brain health, our skin health, our bones, our eyes, our joints, and even our metabolic or our metabolism. So antioxidants really impact our entire body's systems and can positively impact these different areas of health. And so carotenoids are a specific class of antioxidants, and carotenoids are found in many different foods and can play, a really important role in protecting your body against oxidative stress. And in our bodies, basically, antioxidants reinforce the defense against oxidative damage. And carotenoids are an extremely good biomarker of fruit and vegetable intake. They really are good for your overall health. And carotenoids have been shown to be one of the best, if not the best marker of fruit and vegetable intake from your diet. And so just carotenoids, we want to touch on, what are carotenoids? Why are they so important? And, carotenoids are among really the most powerful antioxidants that can help defend our body against oxidative stress or cellular damage. And the most common carotenoids that you get in your diet are lycopene. You commonly think lycopene is actually causing that red color in the tomatoes that you can eat. Lutein is a common carotenoid that you can find in like green leafy things like spinach or kale. And then you have beta carotene, which is really giving that orange color for carrots. And then you have astaxanthin, which is giving that pink color for salmon, and zeaxanthin. And one of the most common sources of foods for zeaxanthin is corn. So as you can see, carotenoids are this wide variety of classes. There's hundreds of carotenoids, but there's only about around between 10 to 15 that we actually get in quantities high enough in our diet that you can actually measure in our blood. And so again, these are the most common carotenoids that you can get in the foods that you eat every day. And again, like I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, is that carotenoids really are one of, if not the best biological marker for consumption of fruits and vegetables. And one of our SAB members, Caesar or Billy Fraga, he is one of our SAB members, and he had this really great quote that we wanted to share. And he said, scientific research is steadily demonstrating that by reducing inflammation and oxidative damage, sustained intake of certain dietary bioactives, including antioxidants, can provide significant health benefits. In our research, bioactives are being confirmed as protecting agents accompanying people through life to combat age-related dysfunctions. And so Caesar is really a great scientist, and we've actually done quite a bit of research with him, focusing on antioxidants and significant health benefits. And some of the research that we did with Caesar is actually shown here, along with many other publications that Nu Skin has done through the years, just demonstrating, we really do invest in science around antioxidants. And, we like to talk about, really proven by science, perfected by nature. And so it's been really fun to be part of many of these publications. But some of these were done even before I started at Nu Skin, because we really do have a very strong history in antioxidant research. And so if we look at just antioxidant science, what you saw in the video at the very beginning, you saw the progression of the scanner. You saw how large it was when it was originally launched. And then with the S2, it got smaller, it got more user-friendly. The S3 is much smaller and user-friendly. And now we're in 2025, 2026, we're launching Prism IO. And you can see it fits in the palm of your hand. It is much smaller. And, it still measures those carotenoids, which we've already talked about, are just such an important marker of overall body's oxidative stress and antioxidant levels. And so, what does it measure? So our proprietary technology, it does leverage this light spectroscopy and our Raman database and measures carotenoids in the skin. And so it really is able to measure these carotenoids in the skin, which again is this trusted biomarker that's correlated with healthy aging. And so carotenoids, again, are this great nutrient that can protect, our body, defend our body from oxidative stress and free radical damage. And so if we go to the next slide, what is your score that you're getting on Prism? What does it mean? It really is a reflection of different lifestyle factors, really things like your nutrition. What are you eating every day? What supplements are you taking? This can impact your score. And basically, also your body or your BMI. And we'll talk about that in a few slides. I'm just talking about how body weight can also impact your score on Prism, and just overall lifestyle as well, right? So that, again, what we talked about earlier is just exposure to environmental pollution, protection from sun, many different environmental factors can also factor in with what does your score mean. So, when you do get a low score on Prism, it does mean that you have a relatively less carotenoid concentration in your body compared to others. But when you get a higher score, that means you have a higher concentration relative to others. And if you have this higher concentration, that means you have greater protection against oxidative stressors, which we talked about earlier, can cause accelerated aging. And so just want to touch on, lifestyle. And, what I just mentioned again, it's really important in that your lifestyle can impact your factors of oxidative stress. Again, this can be things like pollution, just poor sleep. If you're having a lot of mental stress, if you smoke, it really can decrease the amount of carotenoids that you have in your body because it's using them, right? It's using them to neutralize those free radicals. Nutrition is one of those other areas that can very much impact your carotenoid levels. And, as I talked about earlier, making sure you're getting that variety of fruits and vegetables. So you're getting many of those different phytonutrients, specifically carotenoids, really does help with your score. And then BMI. So people that have a high percentage of body fat or a higher BMI, they typically do have lower skin carotenoid levels. So if you look at this graph, you can see that basically as you increase your weight along the x-axis, you can see that your scanner score tends to decrease. So why is this? So what we found in research is that when you have a high fat body composition, you tend to have more inflammatory response, which can increase oxidative stress. We also think there's most likely a sequestering, or basically your fat cells can take up these fat soluble nutrients of carotenoids, so they can't get to the different areas of your body that needs those antioxidants. And when you have a lower fat body composition, you have less inflammation or a less inflammatory response. So you have less oxidative stress and you tend to have a higher score on the scanner or Prism. And then supplementation. Supplementation is very important along with, the other nutrients, related to your diet. Just helping you get regular and consistent supplementation with high quality carotenoids that are bioavailable. It really can help fill these nutritional gaps, especially in those that struggle to eat enough fruits and vegetables every day and may have increased oxidative stress. And so we were actually able to collect around 21 million scans over the past 2 decades of having the scanner. And so using our Raman technology, we actually scanned individuals, but we also collected information on, what impacts the score. And what we found is basically of all the 21 million scans, you can see that the score there is a wide range, right? Where you see the most people in that low to moderate group in the orange, so fairly low levels of carotenoids in their skin. And let's look at a certain demographic of people. So these are people that do not take LifePak. They don't eat fruits and vegetables. They're eating less than 2 servings a day. They have a higher BMI or more fat, and they smoke. You can see that basically 60% of this population has a score in the red, and a very low amount with these lifestyle factors have a good score. But if you change just, one factor, you can see that if you stop smoking, that shifts the graph over, right? So you're having less people in the red and you're having more people in the better scores for the scanner. So then if you go to BMI of normal, so the weight is normal in these individuals, you can see another 20% drop in the red and shift more into the orange and red and even the green. And then if you move to individuals that are eating 4 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, again, you can see that shifts that graph into a more positive response. So people have a higher skin carotenoid score. And if you look at individuals that are taking LifePak once a day, you can see that positive shift once again. And then really the best response that you can get with the scanner is when you're taking LifePak 2 times a day as well. And so, overall, you can see that you will have the best possibility of having a great response in the green, the blue, or even the purple if, again, you're avoiding oxidative stress, avoiding those environmental and just daily stressors. You're boosting your nutrition through healthy fruits and vegetables along with supplementation, and then optimizing fitness, having that healthy body is really important. And so this data is really great, enabling us to visualize, how these different factors can really impact our skin carotenoid scores. And so knowing your skin carotenoid level, it's important, right? It tells you your carotenoid level, it tells you your antioxidant status, which is related to healthy aging, which is related to nutritional health. And all of these are going both ways, right? So antioxidant status is also impacting nutritional health, which is impacting healthy aging. And so it really is this really important cycle that enables us to show that if you have a better antioxidant status, you do have better nutritional health, which means you're going to be able to combat that daily oxidative stress that we have to unfortunately manage. And, knowing your skin carotenoid level really is an indication of your antioxidant status that can really help better manage your nutritional health every day. And so that is my part. And so now we'll turn it back over to Fionn and Haley. So thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Shirley. It is always so insightful to listen from you. And now I can really understand about why knowing our skin characteristic level is very important, as it is a remarkable indicator to reflect our nutritional status. So to our sales leaders, as you know, Nu Skin was a pioneer of the first Pharmanex Bio Photonic Scanner to measure skin carotenoids non-invasively. And now Nu Skin introduced the next evolution, the Prism IO, where we can use it to scan anytime, anywhere, and get the score in just 15 seconds. So it is very amazing. So up next, I would like to hand over the time to our next speaker, Haley Herquez, the Director of Global Connected Devices. Haley has been involved extensively in the development of Prism IO, so she is the best person to tell you the history of biophotonic scanner and share the innovation behind the Prism IO. So let's give our warm welcome to Haley. Hello, Haley. Nice to
Hello,
meet you.
everyone.
I think
How
this is
are
your
you?
first time. Yeah, we are doing great. This is the first time you are joining us in this digital product opportunity meeting. Welcome again.
Yes, thank you. It's such an honor to be here. I'm excited to talk with you all about Prism IO today. So thanks for having me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and let's jump into it. Okay, perfect. Let's make sure that is showing. Okay, awesome. I'm super excited to talk to you today about Prism IO and how we have developed this technology. I'm grateful for Dr. Shelley Hester and for her intro about carotenoids. And it's so important to understand why we're measuring carotenoids and the impact that they have on our health. And I think that's so foundational. Because we want to measure things that matter, right? And we want to make sure that we understand what we're measuring and we want to be able to understand how to improve what we're measuring. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how the technology measures antioxidants and what makes Prism IO unique. So of course, we have to look at where we've come from. One thing that I love about Nu Skin is how much innovation they always are coming up with, right? We don't just come out with one product and let it sit. We continue to innovate. We continue to see how we can improve and make things better, how we can create better products. And so that just goes to show, especially with the Bio Photonic Scanner, this has been such a loved product for so long. And clearly there's such a big potential with the Bio Photonic Scanner, or else why would we continue to fund years and years of research, continue to invest in new models, making it more convenient to use. And so there really is such a unique opportunity here and such a unique story that Nu Skin can tell with this technology. So let's talk a little bit about how we got to where we are. So of course, we came out with our first scanner in the early 2000s. Hopefully you've heard this story, but if not, this original biophotonic scanner took up a whole room. It was 10 feet by 10 feet, right? So this was not something you could transport around, very stationary. And it took a lot of robust equipment to be able to power it, to be able to run it. It was not convenient, but it was Nu Skin's first step to enter into the antioxidant space, right? And so this was so pivotal and so crucial, especially for the time, right? Early 2000s, almost, we're 25 years later. But we didn't stop there, right? This had such a great story to it. We wanted to continue to invest and see how we could get this into more people's hands. And so that's where the S1 was then launched, right? This came out early 2003. But still, I mean, this wasn't necessarily super easy to use either, right? We're looking at still about a 30-minute warm up, right? A 3-minute scan. While 3 minutes may not sound very long, right? We know that can be painful to just sit there and wait for that score, right? But again, we are still moving forward. We believe in this story. We believe in our mission to help improve people's lives. And so we continue to innovate, right? And that's when we come up with the S2. And that's, again, a little bit shorter on the warm-up time. We've now made calibration a little bit easier, but it's still a 90-second scan, so not necessarily the best. But then in 2013, that's when we introduced the S3, which is the scanner that we all currently know. And what was really novel about this device is, again, we have a shorter scan, but we also introduced an app. So you didn't need a computer to run it anymore. And the calibration was a little bit easier, a little bit more convenient, but a lot of maintenance was still needed for this device. Still had it on the leasing system, right? We're talking about really expensive equipment that's still powering this. And ultimately, this size was the smallest that we could get it to be. When we were asked from a development side, like, hey, can we make this more convenient? How can we get more of these out into the world? How do we make it more accessible? Our team went and investigated, right? We looked at Raman technology, right? That's what powers the S3 device, is Raman spectroscopy. And we went and saw, is there anything that we can do to make this into a smaller form factor? And ultimately, the answer was no, right? Raman technology just isn't there yet. We still have it in kind of a bigger size, which is why the S3 is the size that it is. But we were able to find a new technology that was proven to be just as efficient and as effective in measuring antioxidants as Raman spectroscopy, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But you can see over the years, right, we've had to innovate, we've had to improve. And again, that scan time, cutting it down from 3 minutes down to a minute and a half, down to 30 seconds. But we continue to innovate and we continue to push ourselves when it comes to innovation, right? We could have just kept it at S3 and said, this is as good as it'll get. But no, our team is always looking at how we can make things better and more convenient for our customers. And so that's what led us to Prism IO, which you can see takes 15 seconds to scan. And this is a 15-second timer right here, but it really is so fast that you can get a measurement on your body's antioxidant status in just 15 seconds. Everyone has 15 seconds that they can spare. You see how fast that is. I hope all of you have been able to have a chance to scan on the Prism IO. If you haven't yet, you will be able to soon, which is exciting. But we are really we were looking to make it so that it was an easy conversation topic, something that you could approach people with and say, look, it's just 15 seconds. And the amount of information that you can find out in 15 seconds is great as well. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. And again, just going to speaking to the innovation, right? The past Bio Photonic scanners are really heavy, not necessarily convenient to carry around. I've heard lots of stories from many of you about how you would carry it in a suitcase and take it with you wherever you were traveling. And so we're excited to say that you no longer need to carry around such a heavy device to be able to tell such a great story and change people's lives. And so Prism IO, right, we really wanted to focus on making it accessible, easier to use, especially with calibration. We won't be talking about this in depth today, but I can tell you that calibration will be much easier. It can be done at home, at your own convenience and whenever it's needed. And so we wanted to make sure that process was really smooth. We also wanted to make sure that this device was really friendly on social media. And so we focused on, right, those bright, colorful lights. We wanted people, when they saw pictures of it, that they would say, hey, what is that? I want to learn more about it. How can I get one? How can I scan? And it's been really fun to see, kind of as we've had some preliminary teasers of it, just the reactions and the love that people are giving towards Prism IO. And so we're really proud of this design and super excited to get this into all of your hands so that you can use it. It really is truly a revolution in nutritional wellness, right? When we're thinking about what we just walked through with all the past biophotonic scanners and how big they were, how long it would take to measure, but now we are so much smaller, only 15 seconds to scan. And again, you can learn so much about your health. And again, what Dr. Shelley Hester talked about, right? Antioxidants are so important and so foundational to our health. Being able to give people insight into that, to be able to make changes and to improve that aspect of their health is a revolution. And that's what makes this so unique and so not only special for Nu Skin, but relevant right now for health and where people are wanting to go in their health journey. And so again, just in 15 seconds, you can change someone's life. And and provide someone with their overall antioxidant status. And so this is really kind of our big pitch, our big campaign. Again, something that is non-invasive and can be done in the comfort of your own home and in only 15 seconds, right? This is really such a powerful pitch and such a powerful story that we're able to share with the world. Now, let's talk in a little bit more in depth about what actually powers the Prism IO device. We've talked about Raman, and again, Raman is what powers the Bio Photonic Scanner currently, and it consists of very specific wavelengths that fire at a certain frequency into your finger and reflect back. And as I mentioned, we've looked at how we could get Raman to be smaller, be able to put it into a smaller form factor, make it more accessible. But again, unfortunately, Raman is just a very expensive piece of technology. And so our team went out to go and say, okay, how can we go and make this smaller and more affordable? And that's where we get into spectral ray technology. And that is what powers the Prism IO device. And so again, this is something that is very novel, proprietary to Nu Skin too. We have a patent that is currently pending on our technology, but we are taking thousands of measurements within that 15-second time period. We are processing a lot of data, a lot of light measurements very, very rapidly. And so even though the technology is smaller and it's more affordable, does not mean that it is any less substantiative or effective. Right. We pride ourselves in high science, high technology, but you can see as the world is changing, right? When you look at your watches and your rings and your phones, they all utilize very small pieces of hardware, right? None of us are carrying around a huge piece of equipment anymore. Everything is going into a smaller form factor, making it easier to carry around. And so again, this is the direction that Prism IO is headed in. And so that does not mean that this is any less novel. In fact, it is more so because we are able to do it in such a small manner and in a way that is more accessible. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what makes up this spectral ray technology. And so there are three pieces to spectral ray. So again, spectral ray is what powers the Prism IO device. It's what's inside of this device. And so the three components that make up spectral ray technology are one, hyperspectral absorption. And what hyperspectral absorption is it utilizes 5 different wavelengths of LEDs. We'll actually go here and show you. This is what I like to say is powering this is what's on the hardware of the device. If you were to open up the device and look at it, you would see this hyperspectral absorption in the device. And so what's going on in there is we have 5 different LEDs. Each are different colors and they're looking at specific things in the skin that we are measuring. And so we take those 5 LEDs and we fire them extremely rapidly. They're blinking really fast, right? If you've seen the Prism IO device, you can see that when those lights are firing inside the lens, that's hyperspectral absorption going on inside of there, all of those lights flashing back and forth. And so what we're doing is we are shining that light up into your finger. And then we have 2 photodiodes are what they're called. And photodiodes measure light intensity. And so one photodiode that's on top will measure the light on the way up to the skin. And the photodiode on the bottom will measure the light on the way back down from the skin. And what we're measuring here is that some of this light will actually get absorbed into your skin. And that's what we're looking for, right? When we're measuring carotenoids, we're looking at, we're using a certain wavelength that is known to be absorbed by carotenoids. And so whatever light comes back down that wasn't absorbed is what was reflected back down. And that's where we get the name hyperspectral absorption, right? Because we are measuring what was absorbed into the skin. And these measurements that we get back are super, super small, really tiny. But we don't stop here. This isn't all the technology. This is just a portion of it. But again, this is what's actually on the device hardware-wise, what you would see in there. The other 2 portions of the technology are an AI algorithm and Nu Skin's expertise in Raman technology. And so you heard what Dr. Shelley Hester said about antioxidants and how we've been collecting that data for over 20 years now. We have 21 million scans that we have done, that you guys have done globally across the world, that we have been learning from and being able to innovate with. And so what we've done is we've gone and said, okay, we know how people measure using Raman spectroscopy. We know how different lifestyles impact your antioxidant score. And we know where people typically score in different regions and with different lifestyles. And what we've done is we've taken the hyperspectral absorption measurements and we've paired it with our knowledge of Raman technology. And we've actually put that into a machine learning algorithm. And we've run this through over 40 different AI models to see what one correlated hyperspectral absorption measurements with Raman technology the best. And ultimately, that one of those AI models worked better than the others. And we used a math equation, a correlation metric from that AI to be able to go and actually run on the device. And so again, we've got the hardware side, which has the actual LEDs and the photodiodes in there. And then we've got the software, so the brain, how the device thinks, how it does the math, how it calculates. And that's where we use an AI algorithm that was pulled together utilizing Raman technology and hyperspectral absorption. Why this is so proprietary to Nu Skin is, right, LED technology, maybe a lot of people have it, use it, but not everyone and no one has the access to our Raman database and what we know about Raman spectroscopy and how it scans people globally across the industry. And so that's what truly makes this technology proprietary and unique to Prism IO. We did go in depth, but just a high level summarize and make sure that we're all clear. The spectral ray technology just consists of these 3 different pieces. So when people ask you, you can tell them LEDs are inside of the device. We then utilize Nu Skin's expertise and knowledge on antioxidants. And then we use AI to help correlate the two and to generate a score. And so it's just those 3 different building blocks that make up the spectral ray technology. But again, this is what allowed us to be able to put it in such a small form factor is we have a little bit more simple hardware, but very, very complex software that is running on the device with that AI generated algorithm. And so still a very high cutting edge piece of equipment that we're really excited about. And that really makes Prism IO unique. So with that being said, a lot of questions that we get are, hey, okay, you're using a different technology from the Bio Photonic Scanner. Is spectral ray as good as Raman spectroscopy? And this is where we did a study. We used LifePak and took about 50 people, and we had them take LifePak for 12 weeks, and we had them scan on both the S3 and the Prism IO device at weeks 4, 8, and 12. And you can see here, there's an increase from all different time points with both technologies. Now, one thing you'll notice is they're not exactly the same, right? You're not going to go up 2,000 points on one and 2,000 points on the other, right? They are using different technologies and they're calibrated differently. And we moved from measuring on the palm to measuring on the finger. So there are a few differences here which may lead to the discrepancy between scores. But the important thing here to note is that at each time point, we are seeing an increase in the score, right? And so taking LifePak is proven to increase your S3 score and your Prism IO score. And that's really the key message here. And the point in showing you this is that the spectral ray technology has been validated to measure carotenoids at an increase at the same intervals as the Bio Photonic Scanner, even though we are using 2 different technologies. We have a lot more studies that are going to be coming out that hopefully we can share soon. We have a lot of great information that will be coming your way. Again, hopefully you've been able to go and try out the device, but for those who haven't, this is just a quick little animation of how the device works. You have a power button on the back of the device. There's only one button, really easy to use. That red light will blink in the middle, indicating that it's ready to scan. And then as soon as your finger goes over the lens, it will initiate the scan. And so we have this smart scan detection technology, which is great. And that red light will just blink until that finger is placed on there. And then the scan lasts 15 seconds. And when it's done, the color that you are will blink on the device. Now, this is just what you'll see if you just have the device. We get a lot of questions on if you need the app to be able to scan. The answer is no, you don't need it. You could just see that color score on the device if you're not connected to the app. But if you do connect to the app, we have a numerical score that you'll get and a lot of other fun features, which we'll talk about in a second. But again, really easy to use. We wanted to prioritize it being simple because we do want this to be just a very easy experience and an easy conversation starter. Dr. Shelley Hester already kind of walked us through a little bit on what these scores are, but I do want to just bring this up that we get a lot of questions again too about how the Prism IO scores in comparison to the Bio Photonic Scanner. And you can see here, we do have similar brackets in terms of what red, orange, yellow, all the way to purple mean in terms of score. And we are still measuring kind of in the same groups. The numerical scores have shifted a little bit, but generally we are still targeting the same ranges as we did on the Bio Photonic Scanner. But again, you can see here, right, this is our typical bell curve for all of our scan data that we've had over the last 20 years. And you can see more than half of participants are scoring in the red to yellow range, right? So having low to moderate amounts of carotenoids in the skin. Whereas, right, we want to be able to make sure that we are helping to push that bell curve. And we've seen how today too, not only with supplementing, but other lifestyle factors that can help to increase your score. Let's talk a little bit about what the competitive advantages are with Prism IO. So we've talked about a few of them, but one I want to make sure that we don't forget is that Nu Skin is the world's #1 company for beauty and wellness device systems. Like, such a great statement and such great credibility towards Nu Skin. For us to be launching a wellness device, right? Having this award from a third-party Euromonitor. And so tying in not only being the world's #1 company for beauty and wellness device systems, but we also have so many other things that we've already talked about today, including our 20 years, right? We are the leaders in antioxidant science. We've been studying it so long. We don't know of anyone else who has a database as robust as ours about antioxidants and at a global scale. And then we also have already started to publish some papers on the spectral ray technology and measuring carotenoids. And then we also have more publications coming this year. Just some high-level ones. We're already working with some local scientists as well as those in China and Korea as well, looking to study Prism IO and the impacts that it can measure via carotenoids. And we've had a lot of excitement. All these universities were very anxious and very excited to get their hands on this device. And so clearly this is something that is seen as a novel innovation, even outside of Nu Skin. People are realizing the impact that Prism IO can have on the ability to non-invasively measure those antioxidants. Some other things that really set us apart, right? Again, innovative engineering. We've talked about that exclusive technology, Spectral Ray, and why it's unique to Nu Skin, how we are utilizing what we have learned over the last 20 years and funneling that into Spectral Ray technology. Again, 15 seconds, it fits in your pocket. And the big thing is it's easy to share. It's meant to scan many people. A lot of devices coming out, right? Your watches and your rings, they may measure other health metrics, but it's meant for just a personal use, right? You don't take off your watch and hand it to someone else to go and measure. Whereas Prism IO was developed to be scanned by many people. It is smart enough and intuitive enough to be able to know that despite your handing it to someone else, it can still measure carotenoids accurately. And so I think that speaks volumes to our innovation and how advanced our Prism IO technology is. Some other things that are just good to keep in mind when people are asking you why Prism IO is so special. Again, 20+ years of carotenoid research. We are specifically built for accuracy, right? Some other devices may say that they measure lots of health indicators, but they may not do it as well for each of them because they are spread so wide. Whereas with Prism IO, we were built for accuracy and precision. We are specifically measuring carotenoids, and that is what all of our time, focus, and study has gone into, is making sure that we are measuring them accurately. We've got our exclusive technology, Spectral Ray. We also have a complete ecosystem. Not only do we measure, but we actually show you and give you solutions for how you can increase your score. And we do that through our supplements and then also through our app that we'll be launching, the Prism IO app. And so it's not just about scanning and getting a score. It's about learning and learning ways that you can improve your score through various lifestyle attributes. And then again, of course, we have those proven supplements that have been shown to increase your score. So again, such a great holistic ecosystem that Nu Skin provides, from measuring to changing and to tracking, right? Now let's talk a little bit about the app. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek tonight. Hopefully there'll be more trainings in the future that we can dive a little bit more in details. But I do just want to highlight some of the key things that we are hoping to accomplish and bring to you with the Prism IO app. And we have 3 sections to the app that we are focusing on. One is scanning, which we've talked about, right? Just the ease of being able to scan and get a score. But we also want to focus on learning. Again, we are looking to change people's lives, help them live happier, healthier lives. And one way we can do that is by educating. What does your score mean? Why is it important? Why should you care? What does my score mean? How do I improve it? what are ways that I can change my lifestyle and change my habits to improve my score. We will have articles and information that the app will provide about your score. And then we also want to make this really easy to share. So how can you post it on social media, tell your friends about it, help educate people by sharing your scan results and your scan progress to help bring in interest in more people wanting to scan and learn about their health. Again, we just want to make sure it's an easy conversation starter. The app is beautiful. We're working on some great designs, very easy to use and intuitive, but we want to make sure that people are interested in learning about their health. That we want to make sure that this is engaging and something that people are interested in learning more about. And then we also, like I mentioned, want to be able to educate people. There are 4 different areas of your life, which we've already briefly highlighted, that can impact your Prism score. And that includes fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and supplements. And so we want to make sure that we are educating on all 4 of these areas and providing an explanation on how you can improve each. And then lastly, we want to make sure that you're able to track your progress. It's not just a one-time scan, take a supplement one time and your score increases, right? This is a behavioral change. It's something that progresses over time that you need to be consistent about. And so we want to make sure that it's easy to track and then also just easy to share to help educate and bring awareness to antioxidant health and status. And then I'm running out of time, but we'll briefly go through just a few FAQs that are pretty common that we want to make sure we address. And so that first one is, again, how is Prism IO different from Bio Photonic Scanner? Hopefully you all know the answer to this one after today's webinar. But again, they use 2 different technologies. Prism IO uses spectral ray technology, where Bio Photonic Scanner used Raman spectroscopy. And so there are pros to switching to the spectral ray technology, right? In terms of faster scans, it's lighter and easier to calibrate. But we have proven that the spectral ray technology does indeed measure carotenoids at the same intervals that Raman spectroscopy does. The next question is, why is my score different between Prism IO and Bio Photonic Scanner? So again, 2 different technologies. We calibrate them different ways. We're measuring carotenoids in 2 different ways. And then we are also switching where we take those measurements, right? So we switched from the palm to now the finger. And so this is why you may see some changes over time in terms of your score. One thing I do want to quickly call out as well is that with Prism IO, we'll be able to measure more often, right? A lot of people didn't have access to the Bio Photonic Scanner, maybe measure themselves once every 3 months, maybe once a year. But with Prism IO, you'll be able to measure a lot more frequently. And so we're anxious to learn and see how those daily changes, weekly changes on your body can impact your Prism IO score. And then lastly, or I think the second to last question, will Prism IO be able to measure other biometrics than carotenoids? And of course, the future is bright, and we are really excited about this technology with Prism and its flexibility. And at this time, we are not able to confirm anything, but our team is super excited, and we're already looking at ways that we can expand this and hopefully make this a better experience and to be able to learn from all that data that we'll be gathering. Again, more people will be scanning more frequently, and so we'll be getting a lot more data that we can learn from and expand on. And then how is Prism IO different from other devices that track antioxidant levels? So high level, again, 20 plus years in the industry, we have millions of data points that we've been looking at to be able to create this spectral ray technology. We've got exclusive technology, but then we also have solutions that can be that are provided to be able to help increase your score. We don't just give you a score and say, good job, or hey, better luck next time. We have solutions. We have ways to improve, ways to track, and that holistic solution and ecosystem is really unique and I think really special for Nu Skin to be able to provide. And so with that was a lot of information, but I hope it was helpful, and I hope you're able to speak to Prism IO a little bit more in depth after today's call. But I'll go ahead and turn the time back over to Fiona for the rest of our call.
Thank you, Haley. And thank you for putting all the efforts from you and your team to develop such a wonderful and impactful intelligent wellness device. Always Prism IO is not just for customer to know their nutritional status, but it is also a powerful business tool for our sales leader to scan more people and also provide the nutritional solutions to our consumers. So once again, thank you, Dr. Shirley and Haley, for spending your time with us to talk about the nutritional health and also the Prism IO. So as we mentioned just now, Prism IO is a powerful business tool to support you to grow your business. So, with Prism IO, our leaders can actually attract and engage new customers who want to improve their nutritional health. And you can also retain your existing customers with Prism IO. So as your customers see improvement in the Prism score by taking the supplements, the SAS products continuously, they feel confident that the supplements are working for them, right? So this actually helps to create another opportunity for you to encourage your customers to subscribe our products for long-term consumption. So Prism IO is a powerful business tool exclusive to new skin distributors. So it is only for you. So what you can do right now, you hear so much about Prism IO, the advantage of the Prism IO, the opportunity behind. So what you can do is qualify yourself now from July until end of the year, December 2025, for the BR Creator qualification, and you will be eligible to purchase and own a unit of Prism IO. And of course, our Scan the World movement is still running. So we like to encourage each one of you to take this opportunity to reach out to more people, get them scanned, and help them to improve their life with the Prism IO and also with the new skin products. So we want you to be able to scan as many people as you can, as many customers as you can. And we are right now in social media world, right? So, after scanning, we hope that you and your customer can share their Prism score and the Prism experience on social so that we can let whole world know about these wonderful innovations of Prism IO. And of course, after the scan, we want customer to be on subscription so they could see an improvement in their score over a 60 days or 90 days period for products like IPEC, G3, Widespan, and Inner Focus Collagen Plus. So these are the 4 skin carotenoid score certified products, the Prism certified products that you need to subscribe your customer on. And finally, we do all this because we want you to continue your sponsor, okay? Go back to the sponsor activities to grow your customer base and grow your organization. So, talking about subscription, as Dr. Shirley shared just now, as we know, regular supplementation with carotenoid-rich products is very important to help support overall nutritional health for long term. So by subscribing the SAS products, so our customers can actually enjoy 10% discount on subscription pricing, and customer can also enjoy the milestone rewards, where they can actually get the discount voucher for every 3 consecutive months of the subscription. And they can get additional saving from exclusive promotion that open only for subscribers, and of course the complimentary free shipping. So find out more from our local office and make sure you yourself also subscribe any of the products that you like. So please get ready to join us, leaders. Join Nu Skin in this wellness revolution with Prism IO. And I hope that we can continue to go out, scan more people, let's scan the world, and qualify yourself with a Prism IO. Okay, so we came to the end of our digital product opportunity meeting for today. So for leaders who have sent us a question, we will reach out to you personally to answer them, right? So stay tuned for our next meeting as we will bring you more insightful sharing about Prism IO. And we will end this meeting with a video. Okay, sit back and enjoy the video. Have a great day. Thank you and see you next month.